We are live!
Hey.
Hello, people who are joining us. I know there's a bit of a delay, so we'll wait and just check in. Throw up the banner as well. Oh, yay! Awesome! We can see the people who've joined us. Hello, thank you so much for being here, everyone who's made the time. I have my 2 out of my 4 special guests here. One is coming late. The other one is having computer issues, so hopefully they will show up as well. But if you're here watching us live, oh, there she is. Yay! Hi, Emma. Welcome. Glad that you could make it.
Yeah.
We're just, hi, Stephanie. If you're watching us live, go ahead and write in the comments. Let us know where you are in the world. And also if you're noticing any seasonal shifts. This is kind of an event that's centered around the fact that it's the spring equinox today. So yeah, some of us are experiencing more spring-like weather than others. There's no daffodils here yet. But yeah, it'd be great to hear from people about what's happening where you are in the world. I know Stephanie's across the street from me, so probably very similar to what I'm experiencing. Cool. So we might wait just a couple seconds just as more people join us, and do feel free to chat in the comments. Hi, Brent. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. That's awesome. Hi. Yes, lots of flooding and melting. Yeah, we got a lot of snow, warm weather. That's awesome. Okay. Well, continue to feel free to use the comments. We really want this to be as interactive as we can make it. So that's there. We'll try to keep an eye on it. And I just wanted to say a huge welcome to those who could make it live. And I believe this is being recorded. I think it automatically goes to YouTube. So if anybody's watching this later, thank you for being here. And I wanted to introduce my special guest. So this live stream is to, well, originally it was to celebrate spring. That was my motivation in the first place. And to kind of have like a party and a celebration just to bring people together. It's kind of shifted just because of world events, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm really excited to have some friends and family here with me as well who are willing to support this live stream today. And I see some more comments coming in now, so that's awesome. Marnie, you're in East Yorkshire. Oh, you have spring sunshine and daffodils. Jealous. And there we have, yeah, Brent's here. You're very near me, so gray skies with lots of flowing water. Regan's in Brampton, lovely and mucky here. I love the combination of those 2 words. And hi, Shona! I'm so glad that you made it too. You've got beautiful sun as well. And Joe, oh, this is amazing. I wish I could see your faces, but I can imagine you sitting there. So, all right. So to introduce my special guest, so I'll do it in the order, I suppose, that we're gonna be sharing our songs or our stories and things today. So first person is gonna be Fergus. You can give a wave. So Fergus is a really, really good friend of mine. We've known each other for how long now? Like 12 years? Something like that?
Cool, yeah, I think so. Since 2010.
Yeah, and you're just an incredible musician. You obviously have been in bands with my husband, so we know each other well, met because of you, so thank you. And I'm really, yeah, I love the song that you've written, so I'm super excited for you to share that with us today.
Oh, can't wait to play it for you guys.
And then we're going to have Emma. So Emma and I met quite recently just through our passion and love of storytelling. And I convinced Emma to go live for some people and share a story. And so I'm really excited to get to hear you tell a story. I've heard you tell one once, but this is going to be a real treat to get to hear you tell one again. So thank you.
Yeah, so excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me and encouraging me in the storytelling, Caitlin.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have my wonderful sister, Chelsea. And Chelsea is an advocate for children's literacy. So you do a lot of events around books and just getting children books and events for people to come together and read stories and swap books and things like that. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, definitely. And then we like to fill up free little libraries around our town as well. So we want to get resources out there and want to get the books into people's hands and make it easier for people to be encouraged to read and to have fun reading.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you have a special book for us today that you're going to read.
Yeah.
And then we do have another special guest who is Robbie Miller, who's my husband. And Rob's also, knows almost everyone here. I don't think you've met him, Emma, but he is currently working downstairs in the same house as me. But he's an amazing guitarist and musician as well. So he's going to show up when he's done with work towards the end of this live stream. And I'm actually going to play a song with him, which I have never done live.
Yay!
Because I have a new drum and I'm really loving playing it. So that's kind of the rundown of today. But I did want to give my special guests a chance to speak if you want to. So I'm just wondering if any of you have anything to share about what's happening where you are with spring, the seasonal shifts, anything special you're noticing.
You want to go, Fergus? Yeah.
Sure. I went and played. Hi, everyone, by the way. I went and played frisbee golf today at Dinton Pastures, which is a nature reserve, which is also a park. And all the hawthorn bushes are in blossom, which I think they came in blossom today because it was 13 degrees and sunny all day, which it hasn't been that hot in a long time. So the air smelled really sweet. All the daffodils are out. The warm winds were coming off the lake, which was nice. And I also threw a frisbee in the pond by accident. So went in the pond, took my shoes off, and there were some frogs hanging out, having a good time. So that was really nice. And lots of birds everywhere, frolicking in the sunshine. So it's beautiful. It's a really good day.
Yeah, wow. Sounds very spring-like.
Yeah.
Was the water cold?
Yeah, it was very cold.
Thank you. What about you, Emma and Chelsea?
Yeah, go ahead, Emma.
I am sorry, I'm on my phone. So if you see my finger a lot, it's because I'm trying to see the chat as well. But as was many of you, lots of running water. So I went on a walk today in the streams and creeks and everything is just flowing. And there's these beautiful sounds of rushing water. It's like when spring really gets going and it's all the energy that builds up and starts to flow. And I've really been loving those sounds of water.
Awesome.
Oh, thanks, Emma.
Yeah, for us, it's getting warmer here in Oregon. The cherry blossoms are starting to pop up along with some other spring flowers. Got some daffodils and some tulips starting to show. So it's nice to see that the elements of spring are upon us and warmer weather is happening, and looking forward to spending more time outside and less gray and more brightness.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. I'm currently looking out at a pile of snow. It's nice and bright and white, but this spring I've learned here is when the temperatures rise above freezing during the day. That's when you know spring is here, and the sap is running in the trees. People are starting to harvest the sap to make maple syrup. So that's the exciting momentum, and the buds are just starting to form. So no daffodils here, but yeah, it's its own type of spring. So, and feel free to continue to add to the comments. There's Regan says there's lots of frisky squirrels, so they're pretty lots of animals being active right now. That's for sure. And yeah, so this event, so we're going to get started very shortly. I know that you're here for the music, you're here for the stories, and we're absolutely going to have lots of that for you today. But I did want to just mention that this idea really came from when I offered storytelling live streams in 2020 with two really great friends, Chris Hollins and Danny English, who are amazing storytellers, super inspiring for me. And right when the pandemic happened, I was just wondering, we were all everywhere across the globe was in lockdown. And I just, in my head at 3 a.m, something popped in where I thought, I want to do storytelling because that for me, storytelling is a way to bring people together, for one. And it's also a way to kind of ground us in times of stress. And that's where I felt like it could be really helpful to just have time one day a week where we could come together for a live stream and share stories. And we did it for 8 weeks, and it was wonderful. We really created a community around it. I know some of you who are watching today were there at those storytelling live streams. So yeah, it was something that it was really beautiful. And we had this intention, like, oh, we have to keep this going. But of course, life goes on. Lockdowns opened, which is a good thing. But oh, I think we might have lost Emma. Hopefully she'll come back in a minute. There she is. And so we stopped, and then we kind of chatted about, like, we need to continue this, and it's been 2 years since those live streams. And I thought, because I was opening up my pop-up shop to share my art, which was shirts that a few of us are wearing today, which is one of 4 pieces of art that are going to be on a clothing collection, seasonal clothing collection throughout the year. And so I thought I would love to do a storytelling live stream again to do that. So it was going to be, celebrating spring, and it can still have that. But I also, as I was planning for this, the war in the Ukraine broke out, and that's been on a lot of people's minds and on the news, and it's very bothering and it's stressful. And just like when the pandemic hit, that feeling of fear might be there for some. And so again, I thought, okay, storytelling, that's where I go to. And so for today, no matter what you're feeling or what's happening, wherever you are in the world, this is just for us to be together, to enjoy some stories as well as enjoy some music to help us feel grounded. And then the pop-up shop is open. All of you who've registered for this have the link to get there. I'll also put the link at the end of this live stream. And some of the proceeds from the pop-up shop will be going to an organization in the Ukraine that is called Voices of Children. And they support children in the Ukraine who are experiencing the war. So just so you know, that's our way of trying to support and give back in this time. So with that, should we get started?
Yeah.
All right. And I do see just one comment from Kellyanne. I'm so glad that you're here. And you got lots of drippy everything, mud everywhere, and only a suggestion that green might arrive. Yeah, well, we haven't even got mud yet, so. Alrighty, I'm going to hand the floor over to Fergus, who's going to open us up with a beautiful, beautiful song. And feel free to share, Fergus, how this song came to be.
Sounds good. I will do.
Right.
Hey everyone. I was given a word, acorn, and my friend asked me to write a song, so I thought heavily about all the things you can use acorns for, and this is what I came up with. Hope you enjoy it. What can you do with an acorn? You can grind it into bread. You can plant it in your garden, grow an old oak tree instead. On that tree we'll build a tree house, then we'll add a swing. We'll carve our names into the old bark while the nesting birdies sing. We were small like acorns, we all hit the ground. Now we build our roots to the day we settle down, settle down. What can you do with an acorn? Just about anything. You can make a funky necklace or a wedding ring. You can put it in a shotgun. The farmers will go nuts. The animals will love you 'cause you saved their butts. We were small like acorns, we all hit the ground. Then we build our roots till the day we settle down, settle down. What can you do with an acorn? Make sure you're saying it right. For Acorn was a rapper, and his bars were tight. We're not singing a rap song, we're singing songs of nuts, and seeds and trees and fallen leaves, and the stuff that time forgot. We are small like acorns, we all hit the ground. Now we build our roots till the day we settle down, settle down, settle down. till the day we settle down, settle down, settle down, till the day we settle down, settle down. Thank you so much.
I love it.
That was good.
I knew you'd love it, Caitlin. As soon as I wrote it, I sent it to you, and I thought Caitlin will love this song.
Yeah, and then I immediately was like, "Can I have that as for school theme song? Thank you very much."
Anytime.
But you are you gonna release it?
Yes, actually, your husband, my friend Rob, has already sent me the master of it, which I haven't listened to today. He sent it this morning, so I'm very excited to listen to it tonight, and I will be releasing it soon.
Awesome. So people will be able to on like Spotify and.
Yeah, it will be available on all music platforms, more than I could name. Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, and a bit of everything.
Awesome. Well, it's beautiful. And Akon still is a rapper, right?
Yes. And actually, I think he might be more of a singer than a rapper, but you know, it works, right? Akon. And with my English mumbling, it's quite hard to get it right sometimes.
Yeah. Well, let us know, everyone who's watching, what you thought of that song. I do see Barney has said fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if Emma or Chelsea, if you have any comments on the song.
There's going to be a quiz, Chelsea. You've got to recite all the lyrics back to me.
Emma or Chelsea, did you have anything that you wanted to share about the song?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying look at the comments. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That song was fantastic. Absolutely beautiful. I loved it. Made me laugh at some parts. Just brings up good times of when we used to work together and just mess around on the guitar and just, up in the mountains. So that was really awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just a note to everyone, we worked really hard, okay?
Yeah, I also thought it was awesome, and it just makes me think about how we're all really adaptable and can transform and take on different forms for different times in our lives, and I just really like what it brings up and all of the laughter as well.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you. I like that.
Yeah. So keep an eye out, everybody. I had maybe I'll put it back up, but that's where you can find Fergus. There's a banner on the screen. That's your Instagram. So if you are using Instagram, feel free to go check it out and see when this song is released, as well as lots of great footage of dogs, frisbee golf, and comedy and music.
The winning four. Mainly dogs. That's what everyone's there for, the dogs.
And I'm loving the comments that are coming in. What a beautiful song. And I like when you write, we were all small, we all hit the ground.
Yeah.
You're good at those lyrics.
Yeah, I feel like everyone could maybe relate to that. And also how, you know, sometimes. Yeah.
All right, are we ready to move on to our next guest? That's probably a question for Emma. Do you feel ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the title of your story?
I am gonna do The Hopeful Beach.
The Hopeful Beach. Oh, beautiful. Okay.
The
I'm gonna put a
Hopeful
banner up. I'll
Beach.
type that in.
Okay,
All right.
great. Thanks.
So we'll hand the floor over to Emma for a story. Enjoy, everyone.
Hi, everybody. So yes, this story is called The Hopeful Beach. I wrote it this past winter, but it's about winter and spring. So if some people aren't familiar with the beach, I have a leaf right here. There's a lot of beach here. And what's so special about them and why I wrote the story is because they hold onto their leaves all winter. A lot of them do anyway. And that seemed so special to me. So I wrote a story about them. And now I get to have the honor to share it with you all. So the life for the beach starts as a seed nestled in the ground. There is so much hope in that little seed. They wait and wait and wait, not really knowing what they're waiting for until they feel the warmth of the sun brush against their skin as the soil starts to warm. This spring sun excites the seed so much that they just have to emerge from the ground to see what beautiful being makes this warmth. As they stretch out of the soil and through the layers of leaves, they see the sun and are almost overwhelmed with the feelings of love and gratitude. Over many years, the love between this seed and the sun grows. The seed becomes a sapling, and the sapling becomes a grand beech. As the summer of their 100th year comes to an end, the beech prepares. For fall is the time when the beech shares their gratitude by turning the most beautiful color, yellow, like their greatest love, the sun. Over fall, the bright beech leaves fly through the forest as the wind shares in this festive celebration of the sun. When winter comes and all the other deciduous trees go to sleep, the beech knows they must hold on to those remaining leaves, hold on to the hope that spring warmth that brought them into this world will come again. All throughout winter, they hold on to their leaves through the strongest snowstorms and the bitterest winds. Their leaves shivering, but never letting go. The beech knows the warmth will return. They hold on to hope. Then the day comes, just like the first day they felt the warmth. The love grows, their leaves drop, and new ones emerge. The sun smiles at the beech, grateful for their hope that spring will always come again.
Nice one, Emma. Thank you for that.
Awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, so beautiful, well written. Love the flow of it, and just you speak very eloquently.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I love what you said about the leaves turning the color of their favorite thing, the sun. That's really sweet. I've never thought of that, but that's such a that's really cool.
I feel like fall is this big celebration. It's like everybody saying, "Thank you, sun." And the leaves are like flying everywhere, and it's just like this big party.
I walked outside yesterday because it's like the first time we've had a really warm sun, and it's just like everything's happy. The bees are out, the insects are out, and I just sat in the garden. My dogs were just rolling in the grass. It's just like, you're right, everything's kind of celebrating it now again in the spring as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These moments of celebration. I feel like there's so many things about winter when you feel like everything's, or changing my perspective on winter has been something that's happened a lot throughout the last years. It's not when everything's dead and gone, but it's like a time for being hopeful and honoring this rest so that we can then celebrate again, or honoring a time that's like challenging, in honor of what we're, doing this in honor of, that there is always hope for when we can be together and celebrate again.
Yeah. And the cycles, everything's a cycle. It comes back around again. Yeah. Beautiful. And I'm seeing some comments that are saying, lovely story, what a great story, and storyteller. So lovely to listen to. So well done, Emma. I'm having a proud moment.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Kaylin, who has supported this storytelling journey. So thank you, Kaylin.
Yeah. Emma joined a course. So I actually was supposed to run it in November, and then I had to delay it till February. So it happened last month, but a storytelling course and professional learning community. And Emma was on it, and I just knew right away. It was yeah, it was wonderful to hear you, and brave of you to come and tell that live to people you don't even know. So I'm grateful for you. And Kellyanne commented as well. I liked that part about their favorite color, yellow, too. I always enjoy the shiny brightness of winter beech leaves, and now I'll think of it being love for the sun. Beautiful. All right. Anyone else have any other comments? Or should we move on? All right, Chelsea, you are up.
Righty.
Ready?
Yep.
All right.
All right. I'm going to be reading Change Sings by Amanda Gorman. Sorry, I'm going to be shifting this because my camera is silly. And I apologize, I would flip it to face you, but I have challenges reading opposite, so you'll just have to enjoy the front of the book. Okay, Change Sings, a children's anthem. I can hear change humming in its loudest, proudest song. I don't fear change coming, and so I sing along. I scream with the skies of red and blue streamers. I dream with the cries of tried and true dreamers. I'm a chant that rises and rings. There is hope where my change sings. Though some don't understand it, those windmills of mysteries, I sing with all the planet and its hills of histories. I hum with 100 hearts, each of us lifting a hand. I use my strengths and my smarts, take a knee to make a stand. I'm bright as the light each day brings. There is love where my change sings. I show others tolerance, though it might take courage. I don't make a taller fence, but fight to build a better bridge. I talk not only of distances, from where and how we came. I also walk our differences to show we are the same. I'm a movement that roars and springs. There's a wave where my change sings. Change sings where? There, inside of me, because I'm the change I want to see. As I grow, it grows like seeds. I am just what the world needs. I'm the voice where freedom rings. You're the love your bright heart brings. We are the wave starting to spring, for we are the change we sing. We're what the world is becoming, and no, it won't be long. We all hear change strumming. Won't you sing along? The end.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. So I chose this book just because Amanda Gorman, she was our inaugural poet for bringing in our president. She's also the youngest poet to do so at a presidential election. I don't know what the word is, but she's a really beautiful, well-written poet. So if you follow her on Instagram, I highly recommend and maybe getting a copy of this book. It's really beautifully written, and the artwork in it is really amazing.
So it's Amanda. I'm going to type it in the comments so people. Amanda Gorman.
Amanda Gorman. Yep.
Gorman Change Sings.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize that was her. She's incredible. She's amazing, and just the way that she delivers her poetry. Holy moly!
Yeah. She gave me shivers.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful book. And there's so much in it because it's a change in lots of different ways, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so much change. It's a very inspiring book, very hopeful, lots to look forward to. I know change can be scary and it's inevitable, but it's not always for the worst.
Yeah. Well, Emma or Fergus, did you have anything you wanted to say about the story?
Emma?
There was one line about like love, the love that your change brings, or something, and that one really struck me because I feel like change can feel so like you can be lost in change, but I think that there's also so much love in change and coming together around things that are meaningful for you and the people around you to shift. So I love the idea and just like the feeling that comes up of it being true, that love is what surrounds and keeps change moving forward, and the momentum that brings.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love that line about not building a taller fence and trying to build a better bridge. And I feel like since lockdown's eased, I've been traveling too, and that's such an important part to meet people. And instead of hiding behind a wall, like just get out there, meet other cultures, travel, see people, see the world, hear stories. And that's such a nice, I just love that line. It's very poignant to me, I think.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines too.
Is there a picture in the book, Chelsea, that's your favorite that you could show people just to see what's in the inside a little bit?
Let's see here. I think this one. This might be.
Oh, wow.
So if you read, I had shown the actual pictures of the story. You can see it starts off where she's kind of bringing in all these individuals with their differences, and so I think why this is so symbolic to me is that it shows that with all the differences, we can still work together, and we can bring differences and still build something that's really fantastic with what would be considered weirdness and oddities that could tear us apart. It's really what can bring us together in the end.
Yeah, and change is part of life.
It sure is.
Yeah, and it's change in the natural world that we're sort of talking and discussing about today with spring, and then change in ourselves as well, evolution in ourselves. And I'm just going to show your banner one more time, so if people want to find you, I know you kind of have multiple Instagram accounts and things, but if people want to follow your project, so Look in a Book is your personal account?
It's my personal book page account, but you can reach out and find my shared book project account. But I kind of dual between my personal book project and then the As It Turns.
Yeah. And that, As the Page Turns, and that's where you kind of host pop-up events.
Yeah.
In your local area. Yeah, for stories. Incredible. Well, thank you, Chelsea. It was amazing to get to share this with you and for you to tell one of your stories for people.
Thank you.
So I'm technically next, and I'm going to share a story. I'm going to just prime Fergus, though, because I think we're going to need to fill in with another song, because I don't think Rob's going to finish work in time.
I got you. I got one very apt for this talk.
Okay,
yeah, I got
perfect. So we'll have some more music after my story, and then hopefully Rob will finish work and he'll run upstairs really quick, grab a guitar, and then I'm going to play my drum for the first time live. All right, so let me get prepped to tell my story and boot everyone else out. Thank you. Alrighty. Oops, wrong one. So hi, everyone. Thanks for sticking around if you're still here watching. So this story is a story that I actually recently written. For those who aren't familiar with my work or my passions and what I love doing, I love writing stories. I actually was super afraid to tell stories for many, many years and never considered myself a storyteller. And then I just figured out that trying to remember how to tell other people's stories was what was my block. And so I started to write my own stories, and then all of a sudden I felt like I could share them more confidently with groups and with children and adults too. Adults love storytelling, admit it. And this one I wanted to write in inspiration of the drawing that we're all showcasing today. That's on the clothing for the pop-up shop that's now open. And the fox and the dandelion, and they're just two beings that I really, really love. And in a lot of ways, symbol signs of spring for me. So this is a brand new story, never before heard by anyone outside of this house. So here we go. It's called A Tale of Dandelion Honey. And there's a reason why tale is spelled that way. That's a little hint. So let me tell you a story. It's one that is set in nature, but probably not what you imagine when I say that, because the story takes place in a city. It's a busy, noisy city where horns honk and sirens are wailing, and there's people always on the move. And they're often distracted by their phones, that they don't ever even notice a dandelion growing in the cracks of a sidewalk. You see, dandelions are one of the world's most resilient and determined of plants. They can thrive and grow almost anywhere. even if people have tried their best to cover the earth with cement. And in this city also lived a fox, a beautiful red fox with a bushy white tail. Wrong direction. A little bit like this one over here that's hanging out with me. And that fox is just as resilient as the dandelion, and clever too, because even though the city where she lived now was a forest when her grandparents were alive, she had adapted really well to the ever-growing sprawl of the urban life. And she had made herself a den in a hole that was dug right next to an old oak tree, large oak tree that had somehow managed to survive in an unyet developed lot in the city's suburbs. And even though the people who passed by thought the area was a waste of space filled with weeds, the fox considered it an oasis. Because the land was left mostly undisturbed by humans, other than the odd soda can thrown in by a littering passerby. The most magical thing would happen there in spring every year. As the weather warmed up and the ground thawed, plants whose roots and seeds were buried beneath a layer of soil would begin to grow, slowly at first, and then with increasing speed as the days lengthened until they eventually flowered. And one of the first to do this was, can you guess? The dandelion. But not just any dandelion in this story. The soil was so rich that the dandelions that grew there sparkled like gold. And their scent, it was so strong that the fox could smell it as soon as it flowered. It was the moment that she waited for every year because she knew what it meant. You see, the fox wasn't the only creature that made their home in this parcel of land in the city. High up in the branches of that old oak tree was a humble hive of honeybees. And as soon as the first golden dandelion flowered, the scent would waft up into the tree and signal to the bees that it was time. They would know it was warm enough again to leave their hives and begin a new season of honey making. Not only did the honey provide plenty of food for the bees and their growing larvae, they were able to produce so much honey that their hive would eventually be dripping as it overflowed with the gooey and delicious treat. And the taste, it was like no honey you have ever tried before. Those dandelions with their beautiful perfume and sparkling flowers provided the sweetest nectar that you could ever taste. The fox knew this, and so with the onset of spring and the blooming of the dandelions and the buzzing of the reemerging bees, she would eagerly await until that hive was oozing out honey. Then she would sit just beneath it with her mouth open as it dripped, dripped right onto her tongue. And she would smack her lips and smile with delight. It was truly her favorite part of spring. How the people missed out. No one had a clue that such a wasted space filled with weeds was actually such a source of abundance. And the fox really liked it that way. After all, the forest her grandparents had once lived in was gone forever now. So at least she could enjoy this peaceful life somewhere in the busy, noisy city. Then, one day, while the fox was asleep in her den beside the old oak tree, she heard voices growing louder and louder. She popped her head out of the den. She saw two people walking right through all the dandelions towards the oak tree. They stopped before they got too close. She noticed they had some sort of strange device on their back. It seemed to be filled with a liquid, and they were holding a hose that was connected to it. They walked out into the dandelions, those beautiful golden dandelions, and with the click of a button began to spray them with the liquid. They walked around the whole patch of land, spraying this strange substance everywhere that they went. The fox watched from her den and sniffed as the scent in the air changed from the sweet, sugary nectar to this awful, pungent smell that made her feel like she had to She managed to muffle her sneeze so the people didn't hear her. And once they were finished spraying, they left. Fox came out of her den and walked over to a dandelion wet with whatever the people had sprayed on it. She sniffed it. Ugh, this can't be good, she thought. What had they done? But the bees still flew out of their hive that day. They continued to collect nectar from the dandelions to make honey, and so the fox tried not to worry too much. But then, over the next few days, everything changed. The dandelions began to shrivel up and die, and took with them their once delicious nectar. And that meant the bees could no longer make honey. And in fact, the honey that they had been making had changed too. It had turned from this golden yellow into a sickly brown. And when the fox caught one of the drops in her mouth, she almost choked. It burned her tongue and made her feel sick. The bees started to get sick too, and the hive began to go quiet. Fox was devastated and angry. Humans had destroyed so much already. How could they destroy her home too? She wanted to do something, and as she thought about what she could do, she felt a twinge in her stomach, and she felt nauseous and weak and realized she had to lay down. She couldn't even make it back to her den, but managed to curl up against the root of the oak tree. She laid there for hours, wondering if she would ever feel better again. She closed her eyes and let out a deep sigh. Thump! Fox's eyes opened wide at the sound. Thump! 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 And a bright orange ball landed right in front of her. Then she heard giggles, and a voice said, "I'll get it!" with a pitter-patter, footsteps coming right towards her. She was so tired and ill that all she could do was barely lift her head to see who was approaching. It was another human, a small one, a child. The child was running towards the ball, and just as they reached down to pick it up, they noticed the fox. And the child froze. The two of them locked eyes, both afraid of one another at first. But then the child's eyes softened, and the fox knew she was safe. So she sighed and flopped her head back down, still nauseous from whatever those people had sprayed on the dandelions. Then the child's face became confused and then concerned. "Are you okay?" they whispered gently. And then they took another step towards the fox, but she barely moved. And so the child knew something was wrong. Usually a fox would have scampered off by now. She looked so sick and so sad. "Oh no," the child said. "Don't worry, I'll be back." And they ran off again, not even thinking to take the ball that they'd originally come for with them. And true to their word, they did return a short while later with someone else, with an adult. But this human was different from the others that had come with their spray. This adult looked concerned just like the child, and they gently approached the fox and looked very kind. The child said, "This is how I found her. I don't think she's very well." And the adult said, "Yes, I don't think she is either." They removed a bag that they had been carrying on their back and rifled through it. They pulled out a dish and a bottle of water. They poured some water in the dish and they nudged it towards the fox. As soon as she saw it, she realized how thirsty she was. So when it was within reach, she put out her tongue, started to lap up some of the water. And as she drank, the adult stood up and just started to look around the lot where they were. They noticed all of the dying dandelions. And then that smell that was in the air, it smelled like chemicals. And then something dropped from the branches of the oak tree above them, right on their head. It was sticky and brown, and surprised, the adult wiped it from their forehead, wondering what it was. They sniffed it. "It feels like honey," they said, "but it smells awful. And I can see the beehive, but I don't see any bees." I think I know what happened. Someone has sprayed weed killer and the fox and bees have eaten it. And it's killing more than just the dandelions. I've lived in this neighborhood for 20 years and this lot has always been left alone. But since it is right next to the school, I know they've been talking about turning it into a playing field. So I bet they were trying to get rid of the dandelions to plant grass. But they don't realize it's making this place unlivable for wildlife. So I think we could do something about this. Now, by then, the fox had begun to feel a little better. The clean water was soothing her thirst, and it was helping to wash those chemicals away. And she was able to stand up, and she took herself back to her den where she could rest more comfortably. Then the adult and child decided to leave her, but they both returned the following day. They brought more water and some food, and they left it at the opening of her den. And they also looked a little excited, and they were carrying something else with them. It was made of wood, and it had a post attached to it. And they took out a mallet, and they hammered the post into the ground. It was a sign, and the sign said, "No pesticides." Turns out that the adult was a teacher at the school, and after finding the fox, they asked if they could lead a project with the children to turn the lot into a wildlife haven and garden instead of another playing field. And the school had agreed. The sign was the start of the project. So after the humans had left, the fox came out of her den and she looked around at what had become of her home. She knew her home would be safe once again because of them, and she was relieved, but also sad. All the dandelions were gone, and with them, the thriving beehive and delicious honey. As she walked around, finding shriveled dandelion after shriveled dandelion, her heart sank further and further. And eventually she returned to the oak tree. She sat down. She let out a deep, depressed breath. And just as she did that, something white and fluffy flew up in the air before her. It stayed suspended there and then floated off and away. When the fox looked down at where it had come from, she noticed a tiny little dandelion plant, the only one that seemed to have survived. And the flower had turned into fluffy white seeds. And in that same moment, a drop of honey from the hive landed right on the end of the fox's tail. She stared at it and then suddenly had an idea. Fox placed her honey-covered tail on the dandelion seeds, and they stuck to her just like she'd hoped. And then she stood up and she ran all around the lot, flicking her tail from side to side. One by one, the seeds flew off of her tail, floated in the breeze, and landed on the ground. And over the following weeks, dandelions began to grow wherever the seeds had landed. And soon after, the bees returned. And then, did you guess it? Honey making resumed as well. And the school had started to organize class trips where the children helped plant more trees and flowers for insects. And never again did a dandelion or other living being there suffer. And if you went there today, even amidst the hustle and bustle of city life, you might happen to see a fox sitting under an oak tree, their mouth wide open, waiting for drops of dandelion honey. The end.
That was awesome.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I think fox is one of my favorite animals too. So definitely digging the fox story. That was great.
Yeah. When are you going to create a children's book so I can share that?
Well, everyone who has registered for this live stream, you're going to be given a special gift from me. You're going to get an email later today that's all about dandelions and how you can get to know them better. And it includes a written version of that story.
Yay! It's amazing.
So,
Nice.
Thank you.
yeah, I'm working on a book too, but it's probably going to be a little while. Books are a lot of work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also, oh, sorry, Emma, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just so empowering too. It's so awesome to hear when, especially because you visited a class that I was in, and you talked about something that I don't know when it was that you did this, but a student that you were working with noticed something that was happening in their environment and felt prompted to like pay attention and notice and figure out how to engage with their environment in ways that were meaningful and take action in ways that were meaningful. And it's such an empowering story for that reason, to know that you can make a difference.
Yeah, it only takes one person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Was that the story about the ravens?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Story for another day, people, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a true story as well, but yeah. And thank you for the comments, everybody. I love Fox too. Yeah. Aw. I will try to write a book someday. I've already actually started the book. It's in draft form, but I haven't been able to. Yeah. I'll get there someday. I also wanted to credit one thing I was going to say. I meant to say this at the beginning, but I did write this story, but I sort of had an idea of the storyline before I wrote it, and I mentioned it to Danny English, who is another storyteller that I mentioned. Some of you know him. Weedy Kids is the organization that he runs, and he's the one who put together something about the honey and sticking to the fox, and so I want to credit him, because that was part of the story that I was like, ooh, that's a great idea. And he said it was fine for me to use it. So yeah, there's a piece of Danny in that story too.
I love that. I feel like you and I love the same TV show called The Detectorist, and there's a great bit. It just reminded me of it where the lead actor is given a job clearing, I think, some grounds, and he changes the pesticide for water and just sprays all the wild weeds with water.
Yeah, because he can't do it.
Can't do it. And I was like, that's me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Whenever I have weeds in the garden, I'm always like, I'm sorry. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so the resource that I'm sending to all of you who registered for this, it also includes a recipe for making dandelion honey, because that's legitimately something that's really great to do, as long as you can find a source of dandelions that have not been sprayed by pesticides or isn't in the pathway of people who walk their dogs. If you can find a clean source of dandelions, the flowers really do have an incredible taste. And the whole plant is edible, the roots, the leaves, the flower. And I have infused honey with the dandelion flowers. And if you put them in the honey for a couple weeks, let them sit, and then it has this really wonderful floral taste. So there's a recipe in the gift that I'm going to be sending to you later today to make that.
Amazing. I'll make sure it doesn't destroy our dandelions then.
Yeah. I'm also renowned for, well, I live in a different place now, but the house that I lived in before this one, it was suburban, and it was like lawnmowers. People would come in and do everybody's at the same time. I didn't really have a choice. And the first spring, they just came in and mowed all the dandelions. I was devastated. So I ended up putting a sign on my lawn saying, "Don't mow." And I was like this glorious lawn of dandelions where everybody else had none, and the bees and the birds and all of them were coming to my garden. And I was like, I wonder what the neighbors think, but I loved it.
Yeah, when I was at home, me and my mom would always be in that kind of like feud of the dandelions. She'd be like, "No, we gotta get the dandelions out," and I was like, "No, we can't take the dandelions away. They're so beautiful, and you see all the pollinators coming to them, and yeah, I feel like we need to rally around the dandelions."
Yeah. And one thing I love about it, that's why I wanted to include it, because everybody thinks of it as, well, not everybody, we don't, the group of us who are here probably don't, but they consider it a weed. But dandelions grow almost everywhere. And I have lived in so many different places and so many different climates, and there are always dandelions. That's like the thing that connects us all across the world. So there's some significance in that too, I think. Were you going to say something, Fergus?
Yeah, during the first lockdown, all the people that clear all the side of the roads stopped doing it. So all the wild grasses and meadows started coming back on the side of all the roads. And some of the counties have now opted for them not to do it anymore, so that all the flowers can grow during the summer and the spring, which is nice.
Yeah.
They get pretty high, but it's a great place for little animals and insects, and it's like nice to see it kind of coming back.
Yeah. And it really is a source of food and medicine too.
Mhm.
Like dandelions do have, look it up. You can make tea. Just be careful how much you drink, because it is a diuretic, which means it makes you. So just putting that warning out there. But yeah, you can eat the leaves and salads. And I see someone here, Marnie, has made dandelion shortbread cookies. That's on my list of things to try. I haven't done that one yet, so that's pretty cool. And I love, Joe, you're guilty of leaving dandelions to annoy neighbors. Dandelion team. All right, so we the plan is to finish off with a song. Rob finishes work in 3 minutes, so I'm wondering if Fergus, have you got a 3-minute song you can entertain us with before he gets there?
I think so.
Right.
If I can tune my guitar, hold on a sec. All right, we're good. We're good.
Okay, I'm gonna remove us, and you'll have the floor.
Right, let's see if I can remember this. Little darling, it feels a long, long, cold winter. Already messed up the words. Little darling, it seems like years it's been here. Here comes the sun, comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, I feel the smiles in their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, I feel the ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
Woo!
Yeah! It's been a while. I'm a little rusty on that one, but
It was beautiful. I love it. Thank you for that filler. And now, welcoming special guest.
yeah!
This is Robbie.
Represent.
Yeah. I have such good friends and family. So yeah, we'll finish off today with just a little short song. I guess it's a song that we kind of make up as we go.
Yeah.
And so this is a bowron. That's how you say it, right?
It is.
Which is an Irish drum, and I just got it recently. I have always loved music and wanted to play music more. I used to play piano. I've tried playing guitar. I can do bits and pieces here and there, but I've never felt confident to do it in front of everybody. And so I was like, I should play a drum. A drum is something I can transport with me. It's something I can like add to stories and do with kids. And I do have Irish ancestry. And so, it was something I just wanted to try out. And I love it.
And you're really good at it as well, you know?
Thank you. So we're going to do just a little song, finish us all off. Bear with me. I've never done this in front of anybody except for Rob before, other than filming it and putting it on Instagram. But then I can choose the good parts. So, we'll see how it goes. But I'll leave everybody up on the screen so we can all sort of be together. And then we'll close off for the day. So I'm just checking if I've missed any comments. Just about your song. Robin says, thank you for that. I really needed to hear that song. Good time. Love it. Okay.
Okay. This is called the fox and the dandelion.
Hold on. Let me get into position. Okay, ready.
Oh,
There you go.
really good.
As a drummer, Fergus, how did I do?
Amazing. Great rhythm. That stop at the end too. Mwah.
She's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be out of a job very soon.
No.
Really good. That's really nice. Really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, that was super fun. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around to listen to that. And thank you for the clapping hands. Thanks, Jonah. Thanks, Marnie. So that's all that we have for you today. Huge gratitude to everyone who showed up live, and hopefully, yeah, if this is recorded, I got some message that I'm a little confused about, but it hopefully is recorded and people can watch it later. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. It was really nice to gather, even online and with people's typed messages, just to know that you're there. We're all here together live. Spring is happening in its own way wherever we are in the world. Change is a-coming. And there's, ways that we can just come together as a community and support one another. And the pop-up shop is officially open. If you signed up for this event, you should have an email. There's t-shirts, there's sweatshirts, there's things for kids. Chelsea's daughter is the model. And she's super cute. So if that doesn't entice you, I don't know what will. And a portion of the proceeds from every purchase will be going to Voices of Children to support the kids that are in the Ukraine. And that organization supports kids through art and storytelling. So it felt like a really good match. So that's, and expect your gift to get to know the dandelions better later on today. And that's it. Anyone else want to say anything?
Just thank you, guys. Thank you very much for sharing, Emma, Chelsea, Kaylin, and Rob. That was awesome.
I'm sorry I missed the Acorn song, but it was. I know it was amazing because it's an amazing song. So good work.
Thanks, man. I feel like you've probably heard it more than most people.
That's true.
That was really good. Thank you so much for including me. It was so good to see familiar faces, to meet new faces, and I'm really excited for what you're doing, and I hope that people get on it, get the t-shirts and whatever swag they can find, and I'm just really proud and thrilled to know you.
Yeah, thank you for including me, Kaylin. You bring so much light into the world, so I'm so grateful to be getting to know you and be inspired by you in storytelling, and also just to be a part of another really amazing community. So thanks everybody for being here, and for those of you who shared, for being awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. I'm really glad that you made it today. And a thank you from the bees. the foxes and the dandelions. All right. See everybody hopefully sometime soon. Take good care, everyone. Bye.